Hello, and welcome to another episode of the podcast where we will reassure you that football is fixable. Alright, Seth?
Alright, Dan?
Alright, James.
Right, this week, guys, there's a bit of news. I think this is relative to both of you. Arsenal beat Man United 2-0.
This isn't news. This isn't news.
Yeah, they did.
This isn't news. In the latest news, Arsenal was still scoring corners and Man United are pants. This is not news.
Well, yeah. Arsenal are the new Stoke, aren't they?
That's news.
You were saying during the week to me, Dan.
Arsenal are the new Stoke. Stoke are back in the Premier League in disguise. Tony Pulis he's been to Turkey and he's got some new hair. He's all of a sudden much better looking. He looks just like Arteta and he's on the sidelines and they're scoring corners for fun.
Yeah, it's Pulis with Lego hair, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Turkey Pulis. It's Turkey Pulis.
So Dan was texting me during the game. Obviously, Dan being a United fan, I'm obviously a gooner. And we just scored the second goal from both of them from corners. And Dan's like, "You're just a posh Stoke." It's just like, no, I like the posh. Absolutely. At least we're posh.
Do you know how like people steal things though from you guys? Right?
People steal things.
Yeah. Like Gary Lineker always takes your topics and fixes your things, and they take things off of you guys.
Oh, I see. When you say you guys, you mean us? Because
you're
this is the thing. This is what I'm about to say. This is my news. My news is I feel officially a part of the Football is Fixable podcast because, as I said that to you via WhatsApp, the people are listening and watching all of our every word. Now I'm on the WhatsApp group chat for this, and Dimitar Berbatov said that Arsenal were just like Stoke post-match.
That is true. I saw that one.
I swear I said it during the game before he said anything. I said it first, and he's obviously read my message and then put it on live TV, and now I just sound like I'm copying him.
So now you understand what we've been going through for months, where we just had our stuff stolen by all these like more popular people, you know.
Yeah. Can I just say though, Arsenal fans put this out on social media. Right?
Oh, here we go.
So
it must be fact then. If an Arsenal fan said it.
Obviously, facts.
No, so it kind of addressed it as an official Arsenal Football Club statement. So it was, "We would like to sincerely apologise for our recent habit of scoring from set pieces. We understand this might be causing undue distress to opposition fans and teams. To rectify this, we've asked Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka to deliver the ball into the box with significantly less accuracy going forward. Additionally, our set-piece coach, Nicholas Jova, will be sent on an extended Christmas holiday to ensure no further tactical brilliance disrupts the game. We hope this will restore the balance and fairness of the beautiful game. Kind regards, Arsenal Football Club."
I mean, to be fair to Arsenal, I don't really understand why so many people are against Arsenal being set-piece gurus. Because
what's wrong with this?
Yeah, I think it's fine.
I don't.
It's part of the game.
I don't have a problem with it. The only thing I have a problem with is the mass overhype of Arteta after the game. That's the bit that frustrates me. Is talking about Arsenal. All of a sudden, like it felt like Arsenal were now back on it, title contenders, and all of this, and like there's this they're this massive thing. I just felt like the result and the way the game was played, fair play, you're great at corners and you won the game. It wasn't exactly I wouldn't say it was a tactical masterclass from Arteta.
I know what you mean, because it's only big news because it's Man United. If you actually look at it on the face of it, Arsenal beat a team in 13th place or something. It wouldn't be as big news, but because it's United, it feels as though it's a big game. But Amorim's only had one game in charge, or was it 2 games? One game in charge, wasn't it?
Two games. He played. He drew against Ipswich, and then beat Everton.
Yeah, that was it. Oh yeah, and we did a good favour to you guys, make you look good. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. To be fair, I wasn't getting too excited. You know what? I have a real issue at the minute with my bias against Marcus Rashford is so strong. So as it's so bad, but as a United fan, I could barely bring myself to celebrate when he scored against you guys. I was like, oh,
wow.
Geez. Now he's going to
As
think
a United
he's amazing.
fan as well, that's
honestly, it's so frustrating. Oh, now he's going to think he's amazing and all this stuff. And of course, luckily he was dropped for the next game. But he gave away the second corner, didn't he, for their goal, which kind of put the game to bed with that wonderful piece
Cheers, Marcus.
of
that's
trickery.
The thing. It's like he'll just score a goal, and then everyone's like, "Oh, he's back." No, he's not back.
It's because of the brand that he is, and he is everything that is or has been wrong at United for the last sort of 10 years. He sums it all up for me, and I really want to see the back of him. But yeah, as I say, I really that's not like that, guys. Not like that, guys. I didn't
say anything. I don't know what you're talking about.
But no, it is a problem. I'm probably maybe a bit too strong opinionated against him, in all honesty. Like, if you can't celebrate when your own team scores a goal because of it, then that's a problem, isn't it? So I'm probably probably a bit biased against him, and so maybe it's a bit too strong an opinion, but it's something I really need to overcome so I can start enjoying watching.
It's a little bit Jamesy, isn't it, to kind of be run on your bias?
I was going to say, you can't. Why is Dan on this podcast?
It is a bit Jamesy, isn't it?
You're not allowed to be biased.
Is that right, James? So when are you going to not be on the podcast?
So in other news...
No, you can be biased. You just have to own it, James. That's all.
That's true, yeah. He's still convinced that he's not biased.
Yeah, that's the issue.
So, in other news, have you heard about the Club World Cup?
Yes, the Club World Cup. That's not going to happen for another 7 months, and yet people are going crazy that it's somehow affecting their season.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but it's because this last week they've announced some of the draws, haven't they, or something?
Yeah.
So Man City and Chelsea. So it's recent winners of the Champions League and things get entered into this.
Yeah,
I think they're playing like Flamengo and stuff.
I remember when that first came out. I remember when the Club World Cup first started, and it was after United won the treble. And we did it in 2000, and we had to drop the FA Cup as a tournament so that we could do it.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And also, I think Liverpool, they had to play 2 games in a row.
Yes.
I can't remember. Was that because of the Club World Cup? So it was like literally like on Tuesday they played 1 game, Wednesday they played another.
I think it was.
Yeah, that rings a bell as well.
I think it was. Yeah. Just causing chaos.
Anyway, there's
a
lot of controversy about it because it's going to be every 4 years now. Apparently, they're making it so it's in the summer, like an actual World Cup. And recent teams who've won the European competitions, like the Champions League and so on, are going to be entered for it. But one of the main issues is, well, there's a couple. One is that it finishes a week or so before the season starts. So Man City and Chelsea are going to be, if they get far in it, they're going to not really have a
it'll probably be about 3 weeks. I think it's like 15th of July or something.
What it's going to end up being...
Yeah.
From what I read earlier, it was a week or two, but yeah, it may well be a couple of weeks.
What it's going to end up being is like the Nations League. It's just going to be a load of friendlies with a trophy at the end.
Pretty much.
Maybe, yeah. It's not going to be anything that I'm interested in watching personally. I don't know. It might be the clubs who are in it might want to watch it, but also the players. Genuinely, do the players now have a point that they're playing too many games? If like this sort of thing is being put there, FIFA apparently as well are making it a rule that the teams have to put strong sides out and could be fined if they don't.
You know what this is? That's FIFA's rule in general. So they say that for any team that's any club that is registered with FIFA will have to do that in any tournament. However, there's so many variations to it, you know, when it comes to injury, and they will allow certain rotations and stuff. And I just cannot, I can't get it into my head why so many people are still saying, oh, they have to play so many games. No, it's still not true, because how many players, like De Bruyne, for example, he's been allowed to be a substitute for how many games now, even though whenever he plays, City look better.
Yeah.
And so what? So now are they saying that Man City should be fined because De Bruyne didn't start a game for 8 games or something? No, they didn't fine him. There was no talk about it. They will be allowed to not play De Bruyne during this Club World Cup.
I think it's a loose term to say strong side. So basically saying don't play reserves. It's that you should have some senior pros in there.
They'll probably list them in squads and then like rotate them and stuff. It'll be like just a competitive pre-season, won't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Maybe, yeah. There is controversy in another aspect of it though. So is it DAZN? DAZN, is it pronounced? So FIFA were trying to sell the rights to the Club World Cup for like €1 billion or something, but no one no media organisation wanted to bid for that much and pay that much for it. So and DAZN was going to do it, but they didn't have the money. They wanted to do it, but they didn't have the money. So apparently the money came from Saudi.
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
And DAZN are now going to make it free to view on their channel, and the money was paid by Saudi, and Saudi have got a future World Cup 2034. So I just wonder how this is all linked together. So there's a bit of an investigation there. And also FIFA under some they're facing legal action now from the players' unions over the number of games because of this Club World Cup adding to it as well.
It's just that same old argument, isn't it?
Wrapped up in a lot of controversy.
Well, anyway, we've talked enough about the too many games thing. If they really want to solve it, they need to come to us.
They do.
There we go. Let's get into the episode then. Right, today then, we're going to fix Man City, guys. What do you think about that?
Wow.
Yeah, we probably should tell people immediately that we are recording this before the Man City Liverpool game. So it could be that they've won 2 on the bounce.
2 on the bounce. Yeah.
What
the thing is if we fix them now and the results happen, then obviously...
we can take credit.
Exactly. Just because we haven't uploaded the podcast yet, like, it's still in the ether, and you know what City are like. They've probably got access to it before, they probably know what we're going to say before we even say it, so
that's true. They'll have scouts listening to this podcast. Yeah,
exactly. They're probably listening to us right now. In fact, I might be drawing too much attention to myself. Yeah, if I'm not on the next episode, guys, then you know that City have hunted me down.
That's true. Yeah. They'll probably go for James last because they'll think he's just going to carry on talking about Arsenal. He's no threat to us.
Yeah,
I never talk about Arsenal. I don't know what you're talking about.
The moment I walked in, you basically started talking about Arsenal.
When? No,
today.
Literally just moments ago.
Yeah.
Never happens.
Yeah, right. Anyone who knows James... In fact, what T-shirt are you wearing, James?
Oh, just a white T-shirt.
Is it?
Nothing to see here. So moving on. So Man City, they're not going to beat Liverpool, let's be honest. If Liverpool don't win that game...
Yeah, this is the best chance Liverpool have to beat City. Definitely. Yeah. It's like, well, for anyone to beat City. For San Marino to beat City.
Exactly. San Marino, we've said on the news last week, San Marino have a better record in November than Man City did.
Yeah.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Well, sounds good. I like it.
Well, that's the thing. We'll be foolish to write Man City off. Is the Premier League won already, Sess? What's the,
Oh, God, that's the annoying thing we hear, isn't it? We're 12 games in as we record.
At the point of recording, yeah.
Which isn't even a third of the season. And yet we keep
26
hearing,
games to go.
Yeah, how many people do we keep hearing saying, well, that's it, they have to win. If they win this, that's it, that's in the bag.
Yeah. No, Liverpool have won the league. Oh, well, let's stop the league now then, shall we? There's no point in playing all the difficult Christmas games and, when the pressure hits in sort of March, April time and you're on the run-in, no, Liverpool are going to win every single one of those.
The only time you can say they have to win is when it's the final game before it's numerically impossible.
Yeah, exactly. Mathematically,
yeah.
Yeah.
And plus, Liverpool are set up for that perfect storm, aren't they? They've got so many little areas of unrest where a little bit of a wobble and, things can change very quickly.
Interesting. Yeah. They've got the situation with the contracts and things, haven't they?
Exactly.
Salah's been left right the way down to the final year. That's been in the news, actually.
Yeah, and Salah's one of those players, I can't remember him being injured for more than 2 or 3 weeks. I'm sure he probably has, but I don't remember it.
No,
he's an ever constant, isn't he?
Yeah, that's the thing. In all the years he's been there, he's a Liverpool legend, isn't he? And he's not really any time he's missed. And he's even when he doesn't play well, he scores. I mean, you'd be mad to let him go on a free, wouldn't you?
Did you see him take his T-shirt off in the last game? I mean, to quote Michael Owen, he looks like a footballer, doesn't he?
He does
such good shape.
Does it? And whoever's done that hair transplant that he's had, they deserve a medal.
That is true. Yeah, you can expect James to go there soon.
Whoa! What? Wow.
That's an insight into James's hairline.
Like that. I'm not going to have you on my podcast. So
demote me.
Man City.
If you're
I've been doing a bit of
really
analysing
carefully, listeners, you can hear the hairline receding.
Oh, wow.
Dan's third in charge. I mean, how can I let subordinates talk to me like this? This is...
Hey.
I'm going to review the policies. So, I've got some theories, lads. See what you think of this. I've been analysing a bit of Man City recently.
Okay.
Right? Even if they did happen to beat Liverpool in that game that hasn't happened yet but has happened.
Yeah.
I think there's still underlying problems, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So see if you agree with these. So I've numbered them. Number 1, Rodri. You've got to be said. You know, he's won the Ballon d'Or. We've been saying on several episodes he's a key player.
Yeah, he is.
They're going to miss him, and there's no doubt. So, but why? Okay, so City play quite a high line. You know, Pep, his philosophy is about keeping football in the opposition's half. Keep the ball away from your own goal as much as you can. That's how you try and pressure high, so you push high. There's a lot of, so you have a high defensive line.
Yeah.
There's 2 teams he's conceded the most points to. Number 1 is Liverpool under Klopp, and that's, if you think, they play quite a direct, under Klopp they did, sort of over-the-top kind of direct football, which gets straight at that Man City weakness of the high back line, right?
Yeah.
And the second team is Spurs, who recently beat Man City 4-0.
Yeah.
Spurs play a very similar style as well. They don't progress it up through the field all the time. They have done it a bit more under Ange Postecoglou, but their strength is their sort of counter-attack, their direct pace up front, and that really highlights the Pep team weakness, if you like, his philosophy, the weakness with his philosophy. Yeah. So if you somehow do get past the incredible midfield and forward line of Man City and get into that kind of weaker back line, they conceded a lot of goals. And without Rodri there, that's become even more obvious. So
yeah, I agree with that. And also, it's what was it, 2-3 years ago when the stats started coming up, like if Rodri doesn't play, they lose. You know, those stats. That's been a couple of years now, and it's quite evident that his injury, his long-term injury, and the losses now, there's a complete correlation. It just, if you thought it was a coincidence 2 years ago, you have to know now it wasn't a coincidence.
And Real Madrid is still thinking that he didn't deserve the Ballon d'Or. He's so important to the way Pep plays in this system we were just talking about. He adds so much value to that side because they play such a risky game. He just clears so much up, and it goes unnoticed because he doesn't get all the goals and things like that. He does chip in with important goals too, mind, but he does that kind of underrated play, doesn't he? He's such an important player.
And if you think about before he got injured, if you look at City now, after 5 losses and a draw at the time of recording, they're still second. And they were second in, I think they were second in the Champions League as well. And then Rodri got injured. And so that's how far they were with Rodri.
Yeah.
That they can afford to lose 5 and draw 1 and still be second in the Premier League.
Also, what's that famous saying where you become a better player when you're not playing, kind of thing? You're kind of seen as even better because you're so important.
Oh, I see.
When you're not playing, suddenly you're missed by, it's making him seem even better than perhaps he is. I don't know, but right. My second area I want to look at. So people have been saying to me recently, Ilkay Gundogan, since he's come back from Barcelona, he's not been the same player. I mean, he is
the same player.
He is the same player.
He's definitely the same.
Yeah,
definitely the same. Yeah.
All 3 of us agreed on that.
Yeah.
But one thing is, because Rodri's been away, he's gradually started to drop deeper. So he's generally playing a bit more in a 6 from what I've seen. So he's playing in a different role. What's his best place, really? He's normally sort of in that kind of half space, sort of number 8 kind of role, I guess. He's a bit more kind of creative midfielder, isn't he? Where he's having to sit deeper now, and we're relying more on his defensive side. So no wonder he's looked a different player in that sense.
I found the signing so bizarre in the first place. You're already looking at like an aging team, and they're going back to an old player again. I found it so bizarre, and everyone was like going, "Oh, it's going to be great. He's going to make him stronger again." Like people living in the past a little bit. I think people forget that players.
That is true, but I have a theory about that. I reckon that because of the 115 charges that they're obviously very innocent over.
Yeah, it never happened.
Yeah, obviously. Because of that, I don't think they want to spend a huge deal anytime soon.
Yeah.
And they probably wanted to find a youthful replacement and everything, but then you'd have to spend like 100 mil to get a player like that. And they knew that Rodri was getting injured and everything, so they thought, I reckon, we'll get someone for free that we know was good with us. And it's only been a year.
He'll fit straight in.
Yeah, so they probably thought, nothing's probably changed. He'll probably just come back and do what he did before. He's used to the training ground and the clubs and all the players.
League,
Yeah, and the style Pep he played with him for so long that, Pep's got used to how he trained and everything. So I think that's why they chose Gundogan. I also think that's why they sold Alvarez, because they wanted to make the money. Yeah, because it was a good 70 mil, 80 mil, something like that.
Yeah. Although you've kind of jumped the gun there a little bit, because I've got Alvarez coming up in a minute.
Oh, okay.
As a possible.
We'll just pretend like I never said it.
Yeah, never said that. But I think so. Gundogan coming back, I think it does tick a lot of boxes, as you mentioned. I think there are some questions that Dan raises which are valid, but at the same time, he is proven in lots of ways. He knows Pep saying and everything you just said.
It's the same as Johnny Evans going back to United. It's not necessarily a bad idea. And you're not doing it with every player.
No, exactly. But he's just an extra. I mean, I don't think he would have been intended to be used this much, but because of injuries, De Bruyne is out. Obviously, Rodri, Kovacic has been out recently as well.
Yeah,
hence why Gundogan's, in my opinion, playing out of position. So that's one of the problems that I wanted to highlight. And just so you know, I think in last week's episode on Fixing Man United, I'm pretty sure Dan said Johnny Evans is a legend.
Yeah, he needs a statue.
Or something, words to that effect.
Yep. He needs a statue,
I'm sure that. He needs a statue. Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
So then maybe Gundogan needs a statue as well. So there we go. Number 3, I'm going to mention.
Not the same.
Number 3, Kyle Walker. So I think he is. I mean, he's past his peak in my opinion. I don't know if you guys feel the same.
Well, I mean, he's like 35. I think he passed his peak about 2-3 years ago.
He hasn't slowed down though, has he? Apart from he's starting to show signs now. Yeah, I think it's now noticeable that he is maybe slowing down a little bit.
And
we were chatting off air.
I was really unimpressed with him at the Euros.
So was I.
James
thought the sun shined out of his backside.
I defended him a bit. I don't think he was completely innocent of some of the issues that England had, but it was the way we were playing. He was scapegoated because of the tactics. I'm telling you, the way he was tracking back players. But we fixed this. This was already in the episodes last season.
I won't bring up old stuff, but for me, that was for me. I was watching it. Everyone was waxing lyrical about Kyle Walker, as they always do, and it felt like his transition from when you are that player and you can do it. It felt like that was the tournament where he went over the hill.
Watched it? Oh, I didn't watch it. I just made up all my thoughts. So
I'm just saying, for me, my opinion. I'm not saying. No, I'm just sorry. Carry on. Sorry.
No, because it doesn't. You don't agree with James. It's wrong.
Oh,
there you go.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
I see.
Learn your place. So, Walker is. Many are saying now he is past his best, and what you might rightly say. He's in his 30s and everything like that. But I'm not saying that's not true. But he's also playing in a slightly different role. So, and partly because we've got Bernardo Silva as well. Basically, a lot of these players, that's one of the key problems. They're all playing in different positions. Bernardo Silva is now the right winger. And he's not a winger, really, is he? He's another one who he sits in that half space. He's brilliant in those little areas where you can link up and find that pass and stuff. Chips in with goals. This season, look at his numbers. They're nowhere near what they've been in the past. And he's out wide. It's not his strength.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. With Walker, though, I think the biggest issue with him, whatever position he played, because he's played for England, he's played in
back
three and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's played in different positions before, but because of his pace, he's been largely capable of playing in those positions. Because he's losing his pace, he hasn't got enough ability in other departments to be able to cover for that. Other defenders, whenever they all lose pace,
but they read the game and things.
Yeah, the best ones, they can. Yeah, they've got abilities in other areas to be able to cover for it. Walker, the main thing is his pace. So if people get past him, he's able to track back. If he's in the wrong position, he's able to get into the correct position quicker than
it's just recovering, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So it can maybe kind of cover over the cracks of maybe ability in the player if you've got the pace in that to be able to recover. I mean, just a theory. I don't know what you think about it, but is Gary Neville, because people say Kyle Walker's the best Premier League right back now, right? He's up there, isn't he? As the best ever. Gary Neville, I have just want to put this out there, better defender than Kyle Walker. If he had the pace of Kyle Walker, he'd be the best right back we've ever seen in the league.
I would say so.
He's definitely a more intelligent footballer, 100%.
Yeah,
reads the game better, I think. Doesn't
But then again, if Neville had the pace of Walker, if Walker had the defending ability of Neville, then
but the ability you don't lose, do you? Pace you do. That's what I mean.
Also interesting point. Obviously, Walker's pace is something that has been lauded for a long time, but the reason he's shown it so often and had to showcase it so much is that because he's beaten so many times and he has to track back so many times. Surely a really decent defender isn't going to have to show that level of pace on a regular basis.
Yeah, Partly,
yeah.
I think also going back to what I was saying about Pep's tactics, he plays a very high risk, high line, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So Walker's quite crucial to, like Rodri is, Walker's really crucial to it. And the reason I brought Bernardo Silva up is because he's not really a winger. From what I've seen, this might not be happening every game, but from what I've seen, Walker's been playing a bit higher and wider to help Bernardo be able to cut in. So Walker's going on overlaps and things like that. So he's playing in a more vulnerable position where it's harder to recover as well. Yeah. So all of those things added up together, I think, is creating a bit of an issue there. Right. Next one, Haaland, number 4.
Yeah.
Right.
What's your favourite player?
You hate Haaland. Yeah.
Absolute favourite player.
Absolutely. He was going to be on the list anyway. Number 5 is probably going to be Rooney.
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
Paul Pogba.
Yeah. So his fix is going to be to put Dennis Bergkamp in the 10.
Yeah, exactly. If you look at Bergkamp, just don't play like Southampton. That's what he's going to say.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Haaland. So, yes, he scores loads of goals, right? He misses a lot as well. And particularly lately, he's missed even more. And I've got stats to prove it.
Yeah.
He does actually, even when he's got the De Bruynes and the Bernardo Silva setting him up, he misses a lot, Haaland. There's lots of numbers. I know this is going to get a bit of hate, but just go and look at the numbers and things. He misses a lot. But he is their top scorer, and obviously he is the one there to finish the chances. They get countless chances every game. But recently his XG, so this is clearly a problem. So how do we get more goals, back out of Haaland, if you like? Fantasy football managers have had to start... he's been dropped.
Oh my God, yeah. I want to see the stats of how many people have sold Haaland in the last week or two.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. It'd be good to find that out. So, in the first 9 matches of the season, he had an XG of 8.7. I know we love our XG.
Yeah.
He scored 11 goals from that, so he scored more than his XG.
Okay.
Which maybe you might say, well, that goes against what I've just been saying.
Yeah, that is a good return.
But, yeah, it's really good. He's overachieved in a sense. In the last 3 matches, but at the time of recording that is, so before the Liverpool game, his XG is 3.1, and he scored 1 goal. So there's a clear difference there in how clinical he's being. Yeah. So how do we get more out of him? And it's not just him. He's always going to have that. He can be a bit frantic in front of the goal sometimes. He can miss he scores difficult goals and misses easier ones. He's almost got the Sterling effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do think, though, that you go on a lot with Haaland about how much he misses, which, yes, it's true. And we've seen him miss quite easy ones. But I remember... during Ronaldo's 42-goal season, when he won the Ballon d'Or, there was a shot within the 6-yard box. So he must have been like 3-4 yards out and he missed it. It was an open goal.
Oh, yeah.
And so anyone can miss any shot. Sure. And I think the thing about Haaland is, the reason why he's basically the best number 9 in the world now is, I think, because whether he misses, whether he has a bad game, I think his tenacity is still the same. And so he might miss 3 easy chances in one game, but then he will score 3 the next game. Even now, when they've gone through 6 games where they haven't won and he's gone through a bad patch and everything, he's still the top scorer in the league. And he was the top scorer last season. He was the top scorer the season before.
Certainly got the numbers. I do think he's got a bit of the Kyle Walker syndrome. I think it's because he's fit. He's a cheat code, isn't he? He's physically, his physicality, pace and everything like that. Yeah. When he loses some of that, I don't think he's the most intelligent or clinical finisher. I think he relies
a lot on the physicality more than
he's physically superior to a lot of the players, especially these days, the defenders, and it's a different style. We're actually going to look at this in an episode in the future, aren't we? How footballers are different these days. They're built differently and everything.
It is very different to the Kyle Walker situation, though, isn't it? Because this is clearly a mental thing where he's having a bad patch, so he's lost that like millisecond.
Maybe
he's lost that edge. Whereas Kyle Walker it's age. It's like a physical
you can't
limitation.
Get his back.
He's not going to get that back.
Yeah.
That's different, I know what you're saying. Like, he's lost a bit of that edge, but that is literally just a mental thing. He's in a bad patch, and I'm sure he'll turn it around, and he'll probably end up being top goal scorer for the league at the end of the season, or up there anyway.
So I'm going to hang this with the Haaland points. This is still building off my Haaland factor. Is as Man City, they're not spreading goals across the team. Right, so Haaland scored 12 goals this season. Their second place player, I know you know this, Sess, because I was chatting to you off air. Dan, do you know who's second in their scorer rankings so far this season? Before the Liverpool game, this is. So Haaland's top with 12 goals.
I don't know, De Bruyne. I don't know.
You'd think, wouldn't you, De Bruyne or Bernardo Silva or Gundogan or something like that?
You've got to go further back on the pitch, don't you?
Yeah. So Gvardiol is second place in their top scorers so far with 3 goals. Third joint second place, I suppose, is Kovacic with 3 goals as well. Again, defensive player in a sense. And then you've got Stones with 2 goals. You know, can you spot a problem here?
Yeah.
And then Kevin De Bruyne and Doku with 1 goal each, and then that's it.
And
so they're quite over-reliant on Haaland. So if he's having these off games, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Well,
you know,
imagine thinking of before Haaland came. That's bizarre for City, because thinking before Haaland came in, they didn't really have a recognised striker. They played like
that's it. They used to spread the goals across the side, didn't they?
And they were absolutely fine.
Only for a couple of years, because they had Aguero who would score.
Yeah. But he was injured a lot as well, wasn't he? But yeah, they did have Aguero, and he was still amazing.
Yeah.
But there were a couple of, like you say, they transitioned into a team. They won the league without a recognised number 9, didn't they? When they had Jesus and stuff out on the wing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do wonder whether the whole Alvarez thing, which you definitely didn't mention earlier.
No.
Maybe they're missing Alvarez a bit there.
Yeah, and it's that focal point, isn't it? It's like when Van Nistelrooy was playing for United. Van Nistelrooy, he scored loads of goals, over like 30 plus every season, but United didn't win the league when he was there, because it almost became a focal point for him as opposed to everyone scoring.
Yeah. Is he actually holding them back? Or was it that he was competing against Dennis Bergkamp and Arsenal? Who
oh my God.
Henry outscored him every season.
No, I don't think it's that.
Oh, okay.
No. Number 5, Wayne Rooney.
I think, well, unless you have any other problems you'd like to highlight, there are my problems. I do wonder as well, one final thing, unless you want to bring anything extra down, is I wonder if it's now, because I've said that I thought this was going to happen last season, but they managed to still push themselves onto that 4th in a row, the 4th league title in a row. But I was thinking this might happen last season, that they've peaked now. The team is now aging. They're well into their 30s, all of their top players. They're thinking that De Bruyne is going to be, is it his last season maybe? You know, there's a lot of players that are getting on. And gradually, the older you get, gradually the standards are going to drop, whether you want to or not. And like I said, I thought it was last season, but it seems to be maybe that's playing a part as well. Like we mentioned Walker, you know, they're starting to pick up injuries, and these players are getting, you know,
because they're main players. You think about it, you've got Walker, Stones,
Gundogan,
De Bruyne,
Bernardo Silva.
He's but Bernardo Silva's been 29 for about 5 years.
I know, he doesn't seem to change, does he?
Yeah, I don't know. Every time I look, he's 29 still. Right? Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
same as last year.
Look in a minute, he's 27. Shall we get into the fixes then, chaps?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
I immediately want to talk about the aging team as a fix.
Oh, okay.
It's not something that they can fix immediately. They can buy 1 or 2 players, I suppose, in January to try and salvage something this season. But I think one of the biggest problems with the crack that we're talking about, the visible crack in the team or in the club, I think is because of the over-reliance of the aging players.
Yeah.
What Fergie was clearly able to do, and I'm risking bringing Fergie up again here, but I'm bringing him up in a good light. What Fergie was able to do over 26 years was that thanks. What he was able to do over 26 years was that if there was a big player that either was coming to the end of their career, or there was some sort of bust up or something, or they felt they were bigger than the club and Fergie moved them on,
they'd be out.
He was able to bring someone in who doesn't necessarily have to replace that area. You know, you can't necessarily replace Keane with a like for like. However, he was able to bring in or bring up from the academy great players that could kind of replace them in the squad. Whereas what Guardiola's doing now, he's got, you know, he's moved on people like David Silva and Yaya Toure, and he's still got great players. Well, yeah, he's brilliant, great idea. But however, I think he's diluted the squad a bit with players like Kovacic, Nunez. They're players that have played for good teams and they cost a lot, but I think they've diluted the talent pool.
Yeah, they're not the first names on the team sheet, are they?
No,
they're more squad
and you can't
players
imagine them getting to the to the avenues that people like David Silva and Toure did. And he's brought in people like Haaland, fair enough, but the over-reliance in De Bruyne and Stones is just so unreliable in terms of his injury rate now. Walker as well. And these players, because they're aging, he's still playing them pretty much week in, week out. Even, you know, they just come back from an injury. He forces them to play 90 minutes, they're injured again.
Yeah.
And they're out for We've heard players in their 30s, or retired players, saying that in their 30s it takes far longer for them to recover from injuries, and he's still forcing them to play all the time.
Has Pep ever been at a team where at a club where he's had to rebuild a team for that second time? You said Fergie did it 3 times. He's at City now for, is it 8 years so far?
8 years, yeah. He was at Barca for 4 and Bayern for 3.
So he's only ever lived through the cycle of one team, really.
Yeah.
He's never had this problem where he's had to deal with these aging champions that he's created, and suddenly he's going to have to face them and say, I can't play you anymore, kind of thing.
And this is what we said before about Pep, that he's clearly one of the best managers in the world. Fair enough, and we've always said that. However, we've never seen him get tested in the way that a lot of others do, like Fergie did with having to rebuild Man United from the start, like Klopp from being given a Liverpool team that finished 7th or something and never had the kind of finances that Pep has.
Wenger getting 19 years straight away in the Champions League.
What? Didn't even mention
Come
him.
on, we had literally no money to spend, and yet he kept us in the top 4 every season for 19 straight seasons. That's phenomenal.
Anyway, moving on. So Pep's just never been tested in that way, and I'm not saying that because he hasn't been tested, he's not the best manager or anything. An argument can be made. We said this off air. An argument can be made that he's the best Premier League manager of all time.
You could put a case together, yeah.
Yeah. So you can't deny the things he's won. However, this is a test that he's never faced. Carlo Ancelotti, one of the greatest managers of all time, never had a test like when he came to Everton.
Yeah. Then what happened?
Exactly. Yeah.
He's an Everton legend, though, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, look at what he's won since then. We made him who he is.
Yeah.
Where did you finish under Ancelotti?
I can't remember now. 10th, I think.
I mean, that's an achievement.
I'll take that now.
Maybe he was working a miracle.
He convinced James Rodriguez to come to Everton, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's probably up there with Jose's finishing 2nd with United.
Success has to bring Everton into everything, doesn't he, Dan?
I like to talk about Everton.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it makes a change from constantly talking about Arsene Wenger or Arsenal or how bad Southampton is.
Well, Everton's a bigger club than Arsenal, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, James. Yeah.
Building on Sess's point about, and your point, Dan, as well, about can we challenge Pep and what Sess has just done there, I think changing the system that Pep keeps picking. So I'm right, as you two have been talking about all the rubbish, I've been putting their I think they're fit starting 11 on their squad, basically, the players that are available as far as I know. So Ederson in goal, obviously. But I think that they might need to adapt to a more defensive setup while they're missing these key players. Rodri, De Bruyne, Walker's not as reliable as we can, sort of to put him as so far up high and wide and stuff.
Yeah.
So I've, at the moment, just put down as a back 3 that could drop into a back 5 in defensive moments. And you've got Stones and could be Bernardo Silva. Last season, there were moments where Bernardo Silva played in the middle, like as an anchor next to someone else. Not on his own, but next to someone else, because he's got the vision, he's got the ability to progress the ball out from the back and stuff.
I prefer him in the middle.
Yeah, especially compared to out wide on the right, which I think he's not really having much of an impact. And I know we don't use just numbers, but the numbers are showing that.
He's also a really good carrier of the ball, isn't he? I don't know the stats, but he seems watching him carry the ball through the field, he's really good at that, isn't he? So.
Yeah. So I've got Gvardiol, who's a centre-back, really, but he's been playing on sort of left-back, progressing forward.
Yeah.
But I've put him Gvardiol, Akanji and Walker as a back 3. And if Walker does go up, I've got Stones and Silva/Lewis sat in front as 2 sort of sitters. Mm-hmm. So if Walker does go up around on the right wing, Stones can drop in. Then I want Foden central with Gundogan there. So Gundogan's not going to be as deep. So what he's best at is his creative elements. He chips in with goals and assists and things like that. He's good in those little neat, tidy areas. You've got Nunez or Savinho on the... Is it Savinho? Is that how you say it? On the right-hand side as wingers, because you want a bit of pace. You want a bit... The good wingers are someone who can go either side. You can go down the right or you can go down the left.
Yeah.
If you can't go down both sides, you need an overlapping player. But Nunez does chop back on his left foot, and Savinho looks like a talented player as well when he's fit. So you've got the wingers there rather than Bernardo Silva. I think straight away that's playing to strengths. And then Doku, Grealish on the other side. I know Grealish isn't really the player that we saw at Aston Villa, but he can do a job on that left side. Doku's got the pace as well. So between those two, I believe they're fit. And then you've got Haaland up front. So I'd be changing the system. It's really not just the players, it's the system. So a back three that can drop into a back five that just shores up that defence because they're conceding too many goals. And when they're not scoring so frequently, you need to not lose games.
Yeah.
So that's my fix for now, for the time being, until they get when De Bruyne comes on, you might go back to your familiar system. But
yeah,
Arteta did this when he inherited Arsenal's team, and he had players like Socrates and David Luiz and stuff. Went back to a back five with Ainsley Maitland-Niles, and we beat City and Chelsea and won the FA Cup that year because he couldn't play the style he wanted to until he started building the bought the players he needed to, sort of thing.
So is your fix to play Arsenal's formation?
Yes.
Play the Arsenal way.
Play the Arsenal way. I think that would improve every team, to be honest. So, yeah. Do you have any fixes, Dan?
I think, like I was saying about Pep changing his style, I agree there needs to be some change in formation. I would maybe go with a double pivot rather than three at the back. So
I've got both.
So
on my
play.
list, but okay, yeah, that could work.
Yeah, just a little bit. I think just in terms, I think the big thing is to try and get more goals, and I think pushing Gundogan higher up the pitch will probably get you that. I remember when he used to towards the
and I
end,
think also play to his strengths, doesn't it?
Yeah,
rather than defensively, which he's doing a bit more of at the moment.
Because whenever they seemed to be struggling, and they always went on that run, always at the end of the season to pull it out, it was always him that was really the one that's pitching up with all of the big goals, wasn't he? So
yeah,
I think he'd be the man that can get them some goals to get them out of this sort of rut
and Foden.
of form.
It was Foden last season, wasn't it? It was Gundogan in his last year at City before he went to Barca, and then Foden chipped in. They always have those players that can chip. I remember Bernardo Silva did it the year before. It's always got a player that kind of carries the team gets them through some games. And
I do think that the back three, the one problem I have with the back three, I like the idea of the double pivot, but if you have a back three where Gvardiol and Walker are two of the three, they get involved a lot more further up the pitch. And you could tell them to hang back, and Gvardiol, I've only really ever seen him play for Croatia a couple of games and for City. And a lot of the times he's played left back, fair enough, so he can bomb up, but I don't know if he has the patience basically to hang back in the way that we would hope Akanji would. If they are leaking goals, which is one of their biggest problems at the moment, losing 4-0 to Spurs and stuff, and what was it? They gave away 3 goals against Feyenoord in 15 minutes or whatever.
15 minutes, it's never happened in the Champions
League.
Yeah,
so if they're leaking goals in that way, then I would think having a back three where 2 of the 3 are famously more attacking defenders might be a little bit
risky. This is where it comes down to game management intelligence. It depends who you're playing against, the phase of the game. Gvardiol is actually a centre-back. He's just been played on the left, so that's why I put him.
Well,
and I'm assuming that Diaz is still injured because he's been in and out with injuries.
He's injured,
But do you want to hold Gvardiol
so the different
back?
players you have available.
I mean, he is their second highest goal scorer. So
he is, that's true.
What team puts their second highest goal scorer in the back?
We'll put 2 up front, shall we? Gvardiol and Haaland.
Yeah.
And Stones also is he's one of the top,
isn't he?
We'll
put him behind. Oh yeah,
maybe they should go for a
scratch everything I've just said.
4-3-3, Haaland, Stones, Gvardiol up top.
In fact, Haaland hasn't scored in the last few games, so maybe we'll put him in defence.
Oh yeah. He scored in the Champions League, but in the Premier League,
Exactly. Yeah. So in the Premier League, we'll put him in defence.
Yeah. Plus, in the Premier League, you only have to be tall to be a good centre back, right? So.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Have you seen the latest fantasy football table, the League of ours?
Yeah, I've dropped from 6th to 7th.
You have.
Guys.
You're slipping. Can I just say,
Yeah.
Where's Dan? Actually, Dan.
I've also dropped quite a bit, but we're still miles away from you. So
far away.
I've gained. I've increased. I've improved.
Oh wow!
I'm up to 31 now. 31st place.
Oh wow! You improved from what? 33.
But there's also been a kind of swap around at the top as well. So we still have Sam, who's Slotty Too Hotty, is still first place. But
God, who invited that guy?
I know. Jeez. I really shouldn't have had it.
But good news, our guru, who provides our juicy tips, is back up to 2nd place.
There we go. This is why we hired him.
Exactly. Yeah. This is why he's going to prove his credentials.
I don't know if he really knew how close he was to being fired.
Yeah, I don't. Did we send him that memo? I don't know. If
No, we were going to next week. I
we
think.
drafted it.
Yeah.
Did I send it to him? Maybe that's giving him a bump up. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I think
But
he's
he's
been
second place now.
He's been drinking his own juice, so to speak.
If he starts giving away dodgy tips just so he'll win, maybe he starts.
Maybe he's changed it round.
You
Yeah.
have to keep an eye on these tips.
Yeah. You keep an eye on John's tips.
I will.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to join our fantasy league and see where you'd match up against us, then you can enter the code 8B8E1L and see where you can see if you can beat us.
You'll be James. There's no problem there.
I mean, considering the man one place behind him is the man that forgets his login, all you need to do is remember your login and you're pretty much guaranteed to be above him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I might have to take my podcast elsewhere and you two have to be somewhere else now.
Yeah, you have to come up with a new name because this is mine.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So
to be fair, me and Seth clearly know a lot more about football through our fantasy football success. So
That's a good point, actually. And we can talk about other teams other than Arsenal and Southampton.
Oh, really? Because we haven't talked about Everton and Man United today, have we? So thanks for listening, everyone. I apologise for the company I keep. Hopefully you've enjoyed the episode. And hopefully you've been listening.
If not, keep listening anyway.
If you haven't enjoyed the episode, then you're wrong. Is that what we're saying? But Pep, you're welcome.
Yeah.
It only remains for me to say, thanks, Cess. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, you're welcome, James.
I've been James. Please do like, follow, subscribe, and all that jazz. Makes a massive difference. And we'll see you next time. It's goodbye from me.
It's a goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.